Live with Raina, with your host, Raina.
Welcome, America. How is everyone? Today's segment is about the Crusades and the Revolution. The Crusades were a series of holy wars against Islam led by popes, and fought by religious fanatics for the Holy Land. The Revolution was a war between Great Britain and the American colonies by which the colonies won independence. We are going to bring out people that have impacted literature during the Crusades and the Revolution. First, we have Pope Urban II. Welcome to the show. Tell the viewers a little bit about yourself.
I was born of a noble family in the northern France, and I was elected Pope on March 12, 1088.
What do you believe to be your greatest literary achievement?
I believe that my greatest literary achievement during the Crusades was my speech that launched the First Crusade.
Can you summarize that speech for the people, please?
The reason for my speech was to give rise to the Crusades by calling all Christians in Europe to war against Muslims in order to reclaim the Holy Land.
Do you believe your speech impacted that time?
I believe that without my speech, the Crusades would not have began.
Okay, final question. Do you believe the pen is mightier than the sword?
I believe the pen is mightier than the sword because I made a speech that rallied Christians together to put all our devoted souls toward the common cause. If this speech would not have been created, the Crusades would not have begun. A sword without a man to wield it would not have be able to reclaim the Holy Land, only because of the influence my literature had on people, made them want to fight, and enable them to reclaim the Holy Land.
Thank you. That was Pope Urban II, everyone. Next we have Geoffrey de Villehardien. Welcome, Geoffrey. Tell the viewers a little about yourself, please.
I was born to a lesser nobility, but I was appointed Marshal of Champagne in 1185. I didn't join the crusade until 1199, when I was accepted as one of the leaders of the Fourth Crusade.
What do you believe to be your greatest literary achievement?
I believe my greatest achievement in literature during the Crusades was my work on the conquest of Constantinople.
Can you summarize that work for the viewers, please?
Basically, my journal provided an example of life as an early 13th century crusader.
Do you believe your speech impacted the Crusades' time period?
I believe it did impact that time period in years to come because others can read my work about the Crusades and know how life in the Crusades was at that time.
Okay, final question. Do you believe the pen is mightier than the sword?
I believe the pen is mightier than the sword, as I showed in my actions when I wrote the Chronicle of the Crusade on the conquest of Constantinople. Although I was a military leader, I still recognize the importance of writing and recording history. Without my journals, modern people would not be able to know about the Crusades were like and appreciate them. I was a historian of that time that gave an eyewitness account of the Crusades, which is very important for everyone to be educated on what actually happened during the crusade.
Thank you. And thank you for bringing in your very authentic crusade artifacts.
I dubbed thee Sir Ware of the Far Lands.
That was Geoffrey de Villehardien, everyone. Now we have Benjamin Franklin. Welcome. Tell the viewers a little bit about yourself.
I was born in colonial Boston. My father was a soap maker who married twice.
What do you believe to be your greatest literary achievement?
I believe my greatest literary achievement was during the Revolutionary period, Poor Richard's Almanac, and autobiography.
Can you summarize those works for the viewers, please?
Poor Richard's Almanac was a yearly almanac published, but it adopted the pen name of Poor Richard. Autobiography was a book that presented several facts about my life during my time. I try and inform the reader of the many hardships during that period.
Do you believe your work impacted that time period?
I believe my work impacted that time period because it helps inform others of my life and many hardships during that time period.
Okay, final question. Do you believe the pen is mightier than the sword?
I believe the pen is mightier than the sword because the pen helped unite a nation around a common cause. Without newspapers and speeches, the colonies would not have been united to fight against the British. Words and the pen are the foundation of our nation, not the sword.
Thank you. That was Benjamin Franklin, everyone. Next, we have Abigail Adams. Tell the people a little about yourself.
I was the daughter of a minister, and I was a devoted reader. I studied the works of Shakespeare and John Milton, among others.
What do you believe to be your greatest literary achievement?
I believe my greatest achievement in literature during the Revolution was Letter to Her Daughter from the New White House.
Can you summarize your work for the people?
Yes, the letter was to my daughter containing information about her journey to the new White House and my opinions about it. I told her not to tell anyone about the information. The new White House was to help establish a home for the present and future presidents.
Okay.
This was a way of separating themselves from European traditions.
Do you believe that your work has impacted this time period?
I believe my work impacted that time period because it gave a visual image of the new White House. During that time period, I urged my husband to pay attention to the rights of women. I believe women should have equal rights of the men.
Okay, final question. Do you believe the pen is mightier than the sword?
I believe the pen is mightier than the sword because, not only to quote myself, my pen is always freer than my tongue. This sense of freedom allows me to stand up for what I believe in wholeheartedly, which I could have never done before if I used spoken word or any form of physical persuasion. I pushed for women's rights and how those should be equal to those of men, and never gave up writing about it, even though I wasn't able to persuade who I was writing to fully. Pens are beautiful and freedom-loving creatures that overshadow what any sword has accomplished.
Thank you, Abigail. That was Abigail Adams, everyone. Thanks for watching. That was Live with Raina.